Okay, so now you can feel that you can get that inhale down into the pelvic floor and feel that expansion. And then the exhale from the bottom up, so beginning from the pelvic floor and coming through. Now we can practice expanding into the rib cage and creating that space up here in the top of the torso so that the pressure on the pelvic floor has somewhere to go. So we're thinking inhale down, creating that length and expansion into the pelvic floor. Exhale, pressure back up off the pelvic floor because there's the space up here which we're going to create with our breath. So we're going to come on the floor. You might want a ball handy to put between your knees, and you may want a small towel to roll up underneath your neck. So we're on the floor, feet are flat on the floor, legs are relaxed, hip flexors are relaxed, glutes are soft. So we're not trying to clench the glutes here. And if you start to notice that you're doing that to exhale, really just try to let them go. Give yourself a little wiggle and relax back on the floor. I've got a neck roll here just under my neck to maintain that curve in my cervical spine. And I'm keeping my airway open by just slightly lifting my chin. So I don't want to have this tucked chin here because I'm cutting off my airway. So I'm thinking open airway. If you've got a ponytail, you can kind of move it out of the way. Make sure your head is relaxed and comfortable on the floor. So now we can get that inhale, feel it pushing that pressure of the guts with the diaphragm pushing down into the pelvic floor, and we can feel that we can get a little bit of length into the pelvic floor. Now we can start breathing into the rib cage and feeling how the rib cage expands and how we can use tension and compression in some areas to create more expansion in others. So my hands are just resting gently on my rib cage, right at the low ribs here. And as I start to take my inhales, I'm going to think of expanding equally into all areas of my body. So that means into the front of my rib cage, into the sides of my rib cage, and into the back, which is kind of like I'm breathing into the floor through the back of my rib cage. So you can test if you're breathing into the back well by putting your fingers just here and noticing when I breathe in, am I lifting away from my fingers, or when I breathe in, can I feel that there's pressure pushing into my fingers and that's expansion into the back of my rib cage as well. So just noticing that. Are you lifting up your rib cage to breathe in, or can you keep it steady on the floor and take your inhale? Imagining that I'm feeling from the pelvic floor, right down in the base of the pelvic floor, and it's coming up, slowly filling my whole body, all the way through to the top of my rib cage, right into the sides and into the back. And then on the exhale, I'm still thinking from the bottom up. So now I'm emptying from the bottom. So starting at the pelvic floor. And everything's now coming down towards the floor. So my low ribs here, melting down to the floor. Imagining that my hip bones are drawing in together and up, so that it's kind of like a wave as the exhale comes through from the bottom all the way through to the rib cage here, which is gently melting down to the floor. And so what I really want to avoid here is crunching right in the middle. I'm thinking of those low ribs coming down and back towards my spine. So this way rather than this way. So I'm not trying to cinch my waist or pull my rib cage close together. I'm thinking more of compressing straight back down towards my spine. You're just gently compressing this way. Now, to create that little bit of compression so that I'm not letting all the pressure push out my belly, I'm thinking about holding just a small amount of that tension on the exhale So those deep abs are on from drawing those hip bones in and up. And I'm going to hold just a very small amount of that tension so that when I take my next inhale, still breathing in to the base of my pelvic floor first, letting that expansion gently open through the rib cage as I fill up, but I'm holding this tension here so I start to feel more expansion into my rib cage. Exhale, sighing the air out like you're trying to fog up a mirror. From the bottom up. So hip bones drawing in and together like a wave coming through to the rib cage. Letting that rib cage gently melt down to the floor. And so again, I can test to make sure that I'm not arching up to breathe in as I hold just a very small amount of tension in those deep abs. Inhaling from the bottom up. Can I feel that there's pressure onto my fingers, or does it feel like my body is lifting away? Exhale from the bottom up. Now, if you're doing this and you feel like I'm crunching up my shoulders and I'm trying to breathe in by hunching up like this, and you feel like you're really having to use your neck, you can make this much more gentle and expansive by slowing down your inhale by taking smaller sips of air. So instead of taking just one big inhale and really feeling like I have to force that inhale, I'm going to take small sips of air and slowly fill up. So still imagining filling up from the bottom, I'm going to start with just a sip of air. So I'm going to inhale, one small sip, take a pause, then inhale a little bit more, filling up a little bit more, pausing, and then I'm going to fill up, pause, and then fill up again. So now I'm at the top of my inhale. I feel very expanded. My rib cage is opening. Then on the exhale, I'm going to sigh out that air, nice and gentle, just fogging up the mirror. So we'll do that one more time using that waterfall inhale. So just those small sips of air to slowly expand and fill up and feel that expansion into the rib cage. So I'd start with an exhale, feel those deep abdominals kick on a little bit, right between those hip bones. Then slowly inhaling one sip at a time from the base of the pelvic floor. Inhale, pause. Inhale, pause. Inhale all the way, really feeling that you're getting into the back of the body as well, into the sides, into the front of the rib cage. And then when you feel that urge to exhale, fogging up the mirror, slowly sighing out all that air. Feeling those deep abdominals come on again, rib cage gently coming down to the floor. So those are the main things I want you to think about when you're doing this 360 breathing. Can you get that inhale all the way down? Can you feel that length into the pelvic floor? Can you feel that when you exhale, you can get it from the bottom up and feel it like a wave coming through to the rib cage? And can you gently exhale, get that rib cage to come back towards the floor without cinching at the waist? And then can you take that inhale and feel that expansion into the front, into the sides and the back without breathing up into your neck and really forcing it? So we're just really focusing on getting this gentle expansion into the whole body without having to clench to get the inhale.